rise.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated.
State versus Jaymie Mitchell, case number RCR 2022-121235. Counsel, please state your name for the record.
Jeremy Reichenberg for the state.
Joey Gilbert on behalf of the Special President, not in custody, Your Honor.
How are you, Mr. Gilbert?
Good, how are you?
It's been a while.
It has, Your Honor. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. So this is a hearing on the request to modify supervision. Do you want to go ahead with and support your position? I know you filed the document. Do you want to support it?
Your Honor, I do. And I think there was just some confusion. We weren't trying to have Ms. Mitchell not test at all. In fact, we're asking that you allow her to test at sober 24. She get one of the devices that she could take home. They'll test her 2 or 3 times a day. And Your Honor, I've proffered the court in front of you. You'll see a couple items. There's right there on your shelf in front of you. Ms. Mitchell never had any alcohol, the other document, Your Honor, in her system. So when she was tested, so alcohol is not even an issue. What happened is my client was not taking her prescribed medications. She had a manic episode. We're now dealing with it. We're going to be, handling it through different means. And I also provided you with an assessment. I'm not going to go into detail on it for reasons pretty apparent in the courtroom right now. But as you can see, Your Honor, she had an issue. We're dealing with it. And again, we're not trying to skate or fleece you with some nonsense. She's going to continue testing. And I'll just say this, Your Honor, since she's been out of custody, she's had not one issue with testing, not one missed test, not one positive test. And she currently works at my law office every day where she's going to be working until we're able to apply for her license again through the bar.
All right. It's the state's response.
Thank you, Your Honor. I spoke briefly with Mr. Gilbert about this beforehand, and about the sober 24 and the video kind of PBT testing. Again, the state's position was that the court had found the least restrictive means to include alcohol testing a couple times a day. I think it sounds like there's a plan in place for that. As far as how it happens, we leave that to the court's discretion. But it sounds like they have made a plan for that. The only other thing we discussed this briefly in our motion. I discussed it with Mr. Gilbert. For some reason, my system, I showed that as part of the Sparks court, there was also the scram, and they've indicated that's not a condition on this case, but I just don't want to make sure that we also don't set Ms. Mitchell up for failure as far as if it changes here, but not in Sparks. And so, again, I think the court has already found that its least restrictive was testing a couple times a day. How that happens is not so much of a concern as the fact that it does happen. And so if the court wants to modify exactly how that testing is happening, we don't object to that. We just want to make sure that it is happening.
All right. So just to make the record clear, it was Judge Dreiling who made this determination. This request should have gone, not your guys' fault, but it was routed internally inappropriately to me. It should have gone to Judge Birchie because it's her. She inherited this decision. Judge Dreiling simply set bail of $5,000 with daily alcohol testing and random drug testing and DAS supervision. He did not order a scram. So if the defendant tested in person or with a OSM device, whatever that may be, that was fine. It looks like, according to Judge Dreiling, it looks like the scram came out of Sparks, is where that scram came. So I don't think there's anything to modify, because what you're seeking is not to have the scram on anymore.
It's not the scram, but testing daily is fine, Your Honor.
Right. And so I don't think there's anything to modify here. We've not required it. I'm not requiring it. I'll print out the judicial release order so that you have it. And it just says, and I think the allegation is in the Sparks case. There was alcohol involved. That was the connection, the nexus, I guess. And she did have allegedly a bad month or 2 here of activity. So it looks like it's justified, but she's done very well. And depending on how long the case goes on for, there's always a possibility of the testing even being reduced. But right now, we're not requesting or requiring the scram. And the only reason that daily alcohol is in there is alcohol dissipates quickly. That said, there is an 80-hour ETG that could be used if it was appropriate, but I don't feel comfortable going there because not only is this not my case as far as the release decision, but Sparks has probably the more serious case in this as well. So again, to make it clear, no scram required in this case. Daily alcohol, however that burst works out. Yeah, they have a little machine in the lobby where she can test and leave that they now have. That would suffice. Or would the OSM device if that is easier for her. So however you all work it out.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.